All right, students. Good afternoon, all. And I hereby welcome you for our today's live session, which is specifically on the listening module. So just stay tuned so that we have more viewers and we can start our live session. All right, let's begin. So, we today are here to have an in-depth knowledge about how to score more in the listening module of IELTS. What is required there? What all strategies, what all things we need to keep in our minds so that we can achieve our desired band score. All right, so let's get started without any further ado. And today's topic is understanding accents in IELTS listening. So this is very important, students. Listening is all about कि हम क्या चीज सुन रहे हैं, हम जो सुन रहे हैं, that form of speech, क्या we are able to interpret that really well. Now there are different types of accents that are being followed in listening. Not only if we talk in terms of IELTS, if we talk if we have a generic talk about it, that अगर हमें if anybody is conversating with us or we are listening to any podcast, any video, any kind of movies, right? So they can be different accents. Accents means what? कौन किस वर्ड को किस तरीके से प्रोनाउंस करता है, किसके बोलने का स्टाइल क्या है. All right. Some people they pronounce T differently. They pronounce P differently. There is difference in the pronunciation of R, L, D, and so on. It goes. The list goes on and on. So this is very important that we understand that what accents are being followed in our IELTS listening. It is crucial. Now let us understand first of all that in our IELTS listening, how many different types of accents are there? Number one, British accent. British accent is the one which is most practiced in the IELTS listening. You will hear more of British accent. Let's say about 70% of the audios will be in British accent. The other accents include Australian, New Zealand, American, and Canadian accents. Now, Australian accent is from, yes, Australia. The residents, the natives जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया के रहने वाले हैं, जिस तरीके से वो इंग्लिश को बोलते हैं, जिस तरीके से वो वॉवल्स, कॉन्सोनेंट्स, वर्ड्स, फ्रेजेस, सेंटेंसेस को प्रोनाउंस करते हैं, दैट एक्सेंट इज कॉल्ड ऑस्ट्रेलियन एक्सेंट. जिस तरीके से न्यूजीलैंड में लोग बात करते हैं इंग्लिश, इंग्लिश इज अ यूनिवर्सल लैंग्वेज. इट इज बीइंग spoken in many parts of the world. In more than 90% parts of the world, English is being spoken nowadays. So but जिस तरीके से इसका यूनिवर्सल होना has proved out to be advantageous globally, the world has shrunken down to a global village just because of this medium. जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लैंग्वेज विच इज बिकमिंग मोर एंड मोर यूनिवर्सल, हर जगह बोली जाती है। जब कोई चीज़ यूनिवर्सल है दैट मीन्स कि वो हर जगह बोली जा रही है, ग्लोबली बात की जा रही है, ग्लोबली पीपल आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इंग्लिश। हम अगर एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं अपनी कंट्री का, ओके हमारी कंट्री में हम आवर मदर टंग इज हिंदी। All right, let's say if I am a resident of Punjab, my second language, my mother tongue is Punjabi. Okay, so English is, you know, after all these languages, Hindi, Punjabi, Telugu, Gujarati, all the after all these languages, Manipuri, after all these languages, the last language that we are able to converse comfortably in is English. But that doesn't mean that we are not proficient enough. Each and every country, no matter what, no matter it is having origins or the deep roots of this into this language, people are easily able to pronounce the words, have fluency in it, are proficient in it, and are very well able to interpret the basic terminologies, the basic words, phrases, and clauses and sentences of this language. So, लैंग्वेज वही है, अल्फाबेट्स वही हैं, वॉवल्स एंड कॉन्सोनेंट्स वही हैं। वॉवल्स क्या होते हैं? ए ई आई ओ यू। ऑलराइट, कॉन्सोनेंट्स क्या होते हैं? द रेस्ट ऑफ द अल्फाबेट्स विच आर देयर इन आवर द सेट ऑफ फ्रॉम ए टू जी इंग्लिश अल्फाबेट्स। ओके, सो ए ई आई ओ यू वॉवल्स हैं, उनको छोड़ के जितने भी अल्फाबेट्स हैं वो कॉन्सोनेंट्स होते हैं, राइट। द थिंग इज कि हर एक कंट्री का इंग्लिश को बोलने का अपना एक तरीका होता है जिसको हम एक्सेंट कहते हैं। ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ऑस्ट्रेलियन एक्सेंट, अमेरिका में अमेरिकन एक्सेंट, कनाडा में कैनेडियन एक्सेंट, न्यूजीलैंड में न्यूजीलैंड नेटिव्स का एक्सेंट है, यूके का ब्रिटिश एक्सेंट है। ओके, so these are the five different types of accents which are majorly a part of IELTS listening, wherein the British accent is 80% usage of this accent is there in IELTS listening module. Now, trying to understand the native speakers. इस चीज़ में बहुत प्रॉब्लम आती है स्टूडेंट्स को। इंग्लिश अगर हम आपस में स्टूडेंट्स, अगर हम आपस में इंडियंस बात कर रहे होते हैं, वी आर स्टिल, अगर हमें चीज़, अगर हम इंग्लिश बोल नहीं पा रहे हैं, स्टिल हम में एक कॉन्फिडेंस होता है कि द अदर पर्सन अगर वो इंग्लिश में बात कर रहा है तो हमें समझ आ जाती है, एनी हाउ सम हाउ और दी अदर हमें समझ आ जाती है। इवन इफ हमें, हमारे में इतना कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है कि हम उसको बोले, even if we are not good at speaking, we are easily able to interpret, easily able to understand, comprehend what the other person is talking about if the other person is using this language. But जब नेटिव स्पीकर्स की बात आ जाती है, नेटिव स्पीकर्स कौन होते हैं? नेटिव स्पीकर्स दैट मीन जिनकी मदर टंग ही इंग्लिश है। ऑलराइट, जितनी भी हमारी फॉरेन कंट्रीज हैं विच हैव इंग्लिश बेस, उनका जिन जिन लोगों की मदर टंग ही इंग्लिश है, दोज स्पीकर्स, दोज नेटिव्स, दोज रेजिडेंट्स आर रेफर टू एज नेटिव्स। ओके, अब हमें उनको समझने में, उनकी इंग्लिश व्हेन दे स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग, ओके, वी लूज अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस, वी आर एंक्शियस। ओह, पता नहीं मुझे ये समझ आएगा कि नहीं आएगा, और मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है, वाई स्पीड बहुत ज़्यादा है, वाई मे बी यू नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द वर्ड्स विच दे आर प्रोनाउंसिंग और स्पीकिंग अबाउट, maybe the vocabulary is no, you're not sound with the vocabulary that they're using, maybe the grammatical rules that they are following, because you know the native speakers, they rarely follow all the hard and fast hardcore rules of grammar, they hardly do that। हम इंडियंस को नेटिव स्पीकर से ज्यादा ग्रामर आती होती है, ट्रस्ट मी ऑन दिस, बट स्टिल वी आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि वो क्या बोल रहे हैं। समटाइम्स इट हैपेंस, नो, इन मूवीज, इन सॉन्ग्स, इन if you're going through you know YouTube series of YouTube series of the videos which are there from the natives, आपको मुश्किल आती है समझने में। You're Netflixing out and then you have certain movies, you're unable to grab what dialogue just passed by from one of the characters in the movies. So क्यों दिक्कत आती है हमें? दिक्कत इसीलिए आती है because उनका इंग्लिश बोलने का तरीका हमारे जैसा नहीं है। They do not pronounce the vowels, the consonants, the words, the phrases, the sentences, the parts of speech. They do not pronounce the way we do. What we do is we are very specific and certain and sure and clear about each and every alphabet and word. For example, If I have to say that I was at the restaurant. Okay, I will specify each and every word. I was at the restaurant. So at the, I specifically emphasized the distinction between the both the T's that are being used in both these words. at, the, बीच में दो टी थे, मैंने दोनों टी पर emphasize किया. I was at the restaurant. But a native speaker would say, I was at the restaurant. सो एट द, जिस तरीके से मैंने अपने इंग्लिश एक्सेंट में रिपीट किया, इंग्लिश एक्सेंट में, इंडियन एक्सेंट में एम्फसाइज किया, उस तरीके से एक नेटिव ने नहीं किया, जिससे वी वर नॉट एबल टू हियर एट और द very clearly. We were not able to hear that, and this is the hardcore reason, trust me on this students, that we lose confidence when we are made to converse with a native speaker, or we are going through content that is purely English from the native speakers. So what they do is they follow the process of elision. What is elision? Haven't heard of it anywhere before? Let's talk about it now. Today's presentation will be more about elision. Okay, there are ample content, there is ample content which will be required to make you understand the different accents that are being incorporated in IELTS listening, wherein I talked about all the 5 different accents, which are British, Australian, New Zealand, American and Canadian. But this series of today's live is just a part of how we can improvise, how can we be more confident in order to comprehend the different accents that are being spoken in the audios of our listening module. Now let's see this. What is elision? We'll talk more about elision here today. Elision is the process of joining together or merging things. Okay. So what is elision? इसमें हम क्या करते हैं? Join कर देते हैं, merge कर देते हैं. अब जब हम ज्वाइन करेंगे, मर्ज करेंगे, डेफिनेटली कुछ चीजें ऐड होंगी, कुछ चीजें डिलीट होंगी. अब वो चीजें कौन सी हैं, कहां पर क्या ऐड होगा, कहां पर क्या डिलीट होगा, वील टॉक अबाउट दैट टुडे. वील बेसिकली टॉक अबाउट the shortcuts, the short forms, the squashing that is being followed by the native speakers, जो हमें अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट कर देती हैं और उस वजह से हमें समझ नहीं आता. ट्रस्ट मी, हमारा इसमें कोई फॉल्ट नहीं है. इट्स नॉट दैट कि वो बिल्कुल सही करेक्ट बोल रहे हैं और हमें समझ नहीं आ रही है. इट्स नॉट दैट कि वी आर लैकिंग समवेयर इन आवर नॉलेज. ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. वो जस्ट जिस तरीके से अपने लैंग्वेज को यूज करते हैं, जो स्टाइल है उनका, वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दोज स्टाइल्स, और इन्हीं स्टाइल से बनता है एक इंडिविजुअल एक्सेंट. ओके, सो अब हमें ऐसा हम क्या करें, ऐसी कौन सी छोटी छोटी चीजें हम ऑब्जर्व करें जिसे हम उनका एक्सेंट समझने में हमें आसानी हो. हेयर आई विल डिस्कस जस्ट अ सिंपल पार्ट ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग द एक्सेंट, एंड a lot more series will follow regarding this understanding accent in IELTS listening. So let's just talk about elision today, and let's practice elision now. So one of the part of elision is off. What they do is, in any accent, they cut short, they squash things, they contract the words so that उनका टाइम, अगर just have an insight into it. अगर हमारी लैंग्वेज हिंदी है या पंजाबी है और any other language, we also tend to shorten things out because हमारी ease, हमारा comfort zone उन languages में, उस language में इतना बढ़ जाता है कि we do not need to lay stress on each and every word and alphabet. So we don't do that. We just go into, we are more into the flow. Okay, so likewise it is similar with the English speaking countries also. वहां पर वो क्या करते हैं, because they are comfortable with those languages, because वो उनकी mother tongue होती है, तो they try to shorten things out just to increase the flow, just to increase their fluency, so that and they know that the other person will be easily able to comprehend them. वो आसानी से समझ जाएगा कि हम क्या बोल रहे हैं. So this is the reason they shorten things out. वो short कर देते हैं उसको, contract कर देते हैं, squash कर देते हैं, squeeze कर देते हैं. Okay, how do they do that? इसी चीज को elision बोलते हैं. Let's practice this today. Now, off. जब किसी वर्ड के साथ off आ जाता है, वो उसको immediately short करते हैं. अगर हमारा इंडियन एक्सेंट होता तो हम इसको बोलते lots of, right? Lots of. But what do they say? They say lots of. lots of. Do you see the difference? एक तरफ आप बोलोगे lots of, आपको कुछ टाइम लगा उसको बोलने के लिए, but when I say lots of, it was just hardly a fraction of a second. So that improved my fluency, that improved my flow, that this made my the particular language of my own. This is how elision is being practiced in a lot of parts of speech, in a lot of forms, in a lot of ways, and this is the reason that is making them sound the way those English speaking countries natives sound. Okay, let's see another example. If they have to say cup of, we being Indians हम बहुत आराम से बोलेंगे, can you give me a cup of tea? What do the English native or a native resident would do? They would say, can I have a cup of tea? Can I have a cup of tea? So do you see? They are shortening things out. Cup of becomes cuppa. Can I have a cup of tea? Sort of. When they are using sort of, they say sorta. I sorta like this thing. I sorta like this thing. I sort of like this thing. I sorta like this thing. So this is where the contraction is being followed. It sounds funny, and it indeed looks funny in the way these words are being spelled out, LOTSA, CUBBA, SORDA. But this is the way things are going. This is the way that is. These are the things that are being put into. That is making them sound that way. That is making them have that particular accent. So in order for you to speak it that way, or in order to for you to understand things that way, to grab the audios in a easier manner, you must know that what short forms, what contractions, how elision is being practiced by the native speakers. Now, did you see this, that in the third part it is sort of, but the T altogether vanished. When I was stating out the definition of elision to you, I told you that elision means merging, joining. Joining में कुछ चीजें omit भी हो जाएंगी, कुछ चीजें add भी हो जाएंगी. Remember? I told you. Now, this is a perfect example of this. Sort of था. यहाँ पर sorta भी आ सकता था. SORTA भी हो सकता था. T for table. TA भी हो सकता था, but no, यहाँ DA आया. Why? This happened because English native accent में there is a rule out there. Somehow this rule has been made that अगर T के बाद वॉवल की साउंड है इमीडिएटली बाद, ओके, और T के पिछले वाला जो वॉवल निकल के गया अगर वो भी O है, उसके बाद का वॉवल भी O है, तो T will take the sound of D. Strange? Sounds strange, but this is how it goes. So because थर्ड में T के पहले जो वॉवल निकल के गया है वो O है, एंड T के बाद जो वॉवल है वो भी O है, तो ये the T will be dropped and D will be taken up. So do you see this? Now you will say that ma'am in first point also there was lots of और T के बाद भी O था, T के पहले भी O था, तो lots of में लौड़ा क्यों नहीं आया? डी क्यों नहीं ऐड हुआ वहां पे टी के बाद? एस क्यों आ गया? टी ही क्यों रहा? टी को ड्रॉप क्यों नहीं किया? लॉट्जा क्यों नहीं किया उसको? लॉट्जा, इट्स लॉट्जा, इट्स नॉट लॉट्जा. The reason being, I told you, if you remember, it's specifically that अगर टी के बाद इमीडिएटली वॉवल है, अब यहां पर फर्स्ट में टी के इमीडिएटली बाद वॉवल नहीं है, टी के इमीडिएटली बाद एस आ गया है. दिस इज द रीजन कि वहां पर टी ड्रॉप होके डी ऐड नहीं हुआ. ओके, इफ वी सी इन द थर्ड टी के इमीडिएटली बाद ओ है, तो दिस इज द रीजन वहां पर टी ड्रॉप डी नहीं है, थर्ड में टी ड्रॉप डी है. सो लॉट्स ऑफ बिकम्स लॉट्सा, cup of becomes kappa, sort of becomes sorta, lotsa, kappa, sorta. Sounds amazing. So it is. Okay, let's move on to our next slide. Okay, now let's see how we can be comfortable in using this word lotsa. See the difference, okay? In Indian accent, there's still lots of food on your plate. There's still lots of food on your plate. Do you see that? Well, lotsa was spoken for a really short span of time, as compared to Indian accent where I would have said lots of. There is still lots of food on your plate. There is still lots of food on your plate. So this is the way we're going to be using lotsa. We had lots of fun at the fair. We had lots of fun at the fair. We had a lots of fun at the fair. So lots of lotsa. Let's move on to the next one. Kappa. He ordered a cup of coffee. 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 So second one is she is going downstairs to take a cup of tea. She is going downstairs to take a cup of tea. She is going downstairs to take a cup of tea. So do you see this? This is lovely, amazing. Even sounds good, right? I think I've started to sound like like a native though. Okay, let's move on to the next one. It's sorta. So sort of becomes sorta. Now you know कि D क्यों add हुआ है और T क्यों नहीं आया because of the vowels. The O, the vowel O, which was before and just after T. So, what sort of substance could bear those temperatures? What sort of substance could bear those temperatures? Do you see the difference? In Indian accent, what we do is we stress, we emphasize each and every word, every alphabet. Actually, we are more into clarity and transparency. But what the natives do is they are practicing fluency. They practice flow, they practice speed because it is their mother tongue. An Indian would say, what sort of substance could bear those temperatures? Temperatures. हर एक अल्फाबेट पे हमने स्ट्रेस डाला है. How would a native speaker say, what sort of substance could bear those temperatures? What sort of substance could bear those temperatures? So, sort of, कहीं भी नहीं सुना. आपको जो you couldn't even imagine कि उसने sort of word बोला भी है. So all these things are important. The second sentence, he seemed like a decent sort of fellow. So this was the okay. I'm sorry, I had to pause a little bit because I found something going wrong with the live. Just let me, guys, please bear with me. Let me make sure if the live is still going on and it is not interrupted. Please hang on. Sorry for the interruption. All right. So everything is fine. Let's get back to our lovely Elision. Okay. Second one is he seemed like a decent sort of fellow. This is how I would speak. I would say this sentence out loud being an Indian. Agar I am a native speaker, that means I'm comfortable with the language enough. It being my mother tongue, I would say it. He seemed like a decent sort of fellow. He seemed like a decent sort of fellow. He seemed like a decent sort of fellow. So sorta अगर आपको इलिशन प्रैक्टिस नहीं करी है आपने यू couldn't even imagine कि वो sort of उसने सेंटेंस में यूज किया है बिकॉज उसने एम्फेसिस ही उस पर ले नहीं किया बिल्कुल भी वो इतना क्विकली चला गया कि बिफोर यू रियलाइज दैट दे आर यूजिंग दिस sort of it's gone. He seemed like a decent sort of fellow. You could just hear sorta, not sort of. So what sort of substance could bear those temperatures? He seemed like a decent sort of fellow. So these are the things which we need to understand. Okay, now we studied off. Let's just sum this up. In while practicing relation, we first talked about off. Okay, where we studied lotsa, kappa, soda. Lots of, cup of, sort of. Lotsa, kappa, soda. Okay, now I'm moving on to have. Now have also has its own contractions, and what are those? Let's have a look. Could have becomes coulda. Would have becomes woulda. Must have becomes musta. So let's see how these could have, would have, and must have are being used in the native accents. Coulda, could have. You could have bought the cheaper jacket. वो उसको सलाह दे रहा है कि आप जो ये वो जो सस्ती जैकेट थी उसको खरीद सकते थे. Could have means ऐसा कर सकते थे. Okay, could have means. But the native would say, you could have bought the cheaper jacket. You see, cheaper. R is not even pronounced here. R comes silent. You could have bought the cheaper jacket. Cheaper, cheaper. It's not cheaper. Cheaper, cheaper, cheaper jacket. You could have bought cheaper jacket. You could have bought the cheaper jacket. So it's all about practicing. Let's make it enjoyable. Let's make it fun. Let's make the learning process enticing enough that it binds you to the content. Okay. Next, the boy could have run away from the bullies. ये हम इंडियंस बोलेंगे इसको ऐसा. But a native would say, the boy could have run away from the bullies. The boy could have run away from the bullies. So coulda. You could have bought the cheaper jacket. You could have run away from the bullies. The boy could have run away from the bullies. The boy, the boy, the boy, nahi, the boy. So it is all about elision. It is all about, again and again, I am emphasizing on this fact that it is about shortening things. It is about squashing. It is about focusing more on fluency. You could have bought the You could have bought the cheaper jacket. The boy could have run away from the bullies. The boy could have run away from the bullies. You could have bought the cheaper jacket. But this is exactly where the difference is lying between the native speaker and a non-native. Okay, let's see this woulda, would have, woulda. I would have done that. I would have done that. Woulda. He would have been very angry if he had seen you. I would have done that. मैंने ऐसा कर लिया होता. He would have been very angry if he had seen you. अगर उसने तुम्हें देख लिया होता तो वो बहुत गुस्सा होता. I would have done that. He would have been very angry if he had seen you. So this is what is making a difference. A lot of difference. Would have, woulda. I woulda. He woulda. Let's see how they pronounce must have. Must have is must. Must. He must have plan. He must have some plan. That means he must have some plan. H is तो कहीं भी नहीं pronounce हो रहा है guys. H is just clubbed. V भी नहीं है कहीं. Are you seeing this? Must. ना H है ना V है. So उसने पूरा का पूरा वो contract करके must में ही include करा दिया है एक must. Must have. पूरा का पूरा have जो है एक A ने substitute कर लिया है. उसकी जगह ले ली है. Do you see this? So this is the reason कि आपको difficulty हो जाती है समझने में कि वो नेटिव क्या बोल रहा है. Because it is being shortened out. Now let's see. He must have some plan. They must have been following us. He must have some plan. They must have been following us. Must have been. Must have been. He must have some. They must have been. So this is the way they are contracting must have as must. Must. Okay. Now let's sum up this have. Could have becomes coulda. Would have becomes woulda. Must have becomes musta. Coulda, woulda, musta. Let's move on to the third part, which is do. Now, if you club have with do becomes have to. Have to. The V and the E are dropped. And उसकी जगह पे what is being added? F. Have to. Have to. Have to. Got to. Gotta. Gotta. You remember? I told you this rule that अगर T के बाद में भी O है, पहले भी O है, तो T will be dropped and D will be added. So got to becomes gotta. Want to becomes wanna. Have to, have to, have to. Ab, remember this, don't use were. Don't use have to. Okay? Say have to. Have to. Have to. Gotta. Gotta. Not gotta. Because between duh and ter, there is a difference in the way your tongue touches the palate of the roof of your palate. So remember this thing? Have to, gotta, wanna. Have to, have to. Got to, gotta. Want to, wanna. Let's practice this out. Okay. Have to. I have to go right now. I have to go right now. I have to, have to. I have to go right now. I have to go right now. I have to go right now. You have to attend the classes today. Have to. Have to. I have to go right now. You have to attend the classes today. I have to go right now. You have to attend the classes today. Have to. Have to. Gotta. Got to. I gotta go. This is the shortest and the sweetest sentence I just passed across in my presentation. I gotta go. I gotta go. Sometimes, in casual chat language and slangs, we use this word gotta. But now you know that that is not as per the rule. You can't do that. So you're dropping a T and you're adding a D. Now you know that it cannot be gotta. क्या होना चाहिए? goda. Gotta. Gotta. I gotta go. Gotta. I got to go. अगर आप टी बोलते हो इसमें तो आपको टी के लिए बहुत रुकना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे, बिकॉज यहाँ पे दो टीज ऑलरेडी क्लब हो रही हैं. एक GOT के बाद वाली, गॉट के बाद वाली टी, एक TO2 के पहले वाली टी. सो अगर आप टी बोलने लग जाते हो आपको बहुत emphasize करना होगा उस टी पे, एंड दिस विल ब्रेक योर फ्लुएंसी. दिस इज द रीजन कि उन्होंने एज अ रूल बना दिया है कि अगर टी इस तरीके से है, पहले भी ओ बाद में ओ, डी लगाएंगे एंड इट बिकम्स मोर स्विफ्ट. प्रोनाउंस करके देखो आप. ट्राई स्पीकिंग गोटा. 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 गोटा takes a little bit of more effort as compared to when you say gotta. 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 Is gotta. 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 Got to. Gotta. I gotta go. I've gotta get you out of here. I gotta get you out of here. Out of, out of, out of. Now, this I'm just going off the topic because I was just mentioning here gotta, but here you could also just have a look at the way I just contracted out of. I didn't say out of. I say oughta, oughta. I've gotta get you out of here. Get here, get here. You is also contracted here. They're not saying you. They're saying yeah. I've gotta get you out of here. Here, here, out of here, here, okay? Out of, not off, of, not you, you. I've got to get you. I've got to get you out of here. You becomes you. Out of becomes oughta. Here is as it is. Got to becomes gotta. I've got to get you out of here. I have got to, I have got to get you out of here becomes I've got to get you out of here. I've got to get you out of here. So it's just about the way you practice your elision. Wanna is want to. Now, I want to eat a popsicle. What is a popsicle? Popsicle is जो आप कुल्फी खाते हैं, that is known as popsicle. Okay, इंग्लिश में उसको popsicle कहते हैं, ice popsicle. The जो बर्फ वाली कुल्फी होती है. I want to eat a popsicle. 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 I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't. I don't. I don't. Now NNT उसने पहले ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया है, but still NNT जिस तरीके से प्रोनाउंस हो रहा है, it is merging. I don't. I don't. It becomes like a हिंदी का that बिंदी, that चंद्र बिंदु, what you call. वो इस तरीके से साउंड हो रहा है. I don't नहीं है. I don't. I don't. Oh. Okay. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a want to be a doctor. No, no, no. This is not a native would say. A native would say, I don't want to be a doctor. 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 Okay. So don't becomes don't. Want to becomes wanna. I don't want to be a doctor. So want to becomes wanna in terms of a accent that is being followed by a native speaker. Let's practice it. Come on, let's say with me. I want to eat a popsicle. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to eat a popsicle. Okay, let's move on. Going to becomes gonna. I'm gonna cook later. I'm gonna study more tonight. 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 Did you hear me say tonight? Last wala T is just a minute. Tonight. 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 नाउ गाइज इस स्लाइड में आई एम जस्ट फोकसिंग जो यहाँ पर मेंशन हो रहा है आई एम सपोज टू फोकस ओनली ऑन गोना बट बाकी चीजें भी मैं पिक कर रही हूँ एंड इनडायरेक्टली आई एम ऑल्सो नरेटिंग द कंटेंट ऑफ माय फ्यूचर स्लाइड्स विद यू where I will talk about how to pick words in chunks, what sounds to add, and what sounds to delete. Here I am talking about contractions. Later, in my later series of this understanding accents and IELTS, I would talk about shrinkage. I would talk about additions and deletions of sounds, not alphabets, of sounds. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna cook later. I'm gonna cook later. I'm gonna cook M. I am becomes M. A single M. I'm gonna cook later. 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 The R is emphasized बहुत ही कम. It is not later. Indians say later. Native would say later. Later. R somewhere कहीं roll हो गया है. Alright. Though it is not silent, but it is not necessarily emphasized also. I'm gonna study more tonight. I'm gonna study more tonight. 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 It is not tonight. 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 So going to, gonna, later, later, tonight, tonight. I'm gonna cook later. I'm gonna study more tonight. So this is how we are gonna practice more with the accents. Now moving on to the another category, you. When you club you with could, it becomes could you, could you. You have to say a J. You have to say you must mention this alphabet though could और you में कहीं पर J नहीं है but जब आप elision उसमें कर देते हो J add हो जाता है. Could you, could you. Now you cannot say could you. Could you नहीं आप बोल सकते हैं. You have to say you there but with a J inserted in it. Would you, would you, would you, would you, not would you, would you. Year has to be there. Year has to be there. Remember this thing. Would you, could you, could you, would you. Let's practice this. Okay, so could you becomes could you. Could you help me? Could you check my answers to see if it is right? Could you, could you. Not could you help me? No, this doesn't sound more like a native would say it out. Could you, could you, could you, could you. Not could you. It's could you help me? Could you check my answer to see if it is right? Could you help me? Could you check my answer to see if it is right? So when you will start practicing this squashing this elision, no, you will become more comfortable in with the speed of the language. Because आप contractions जब ले आते हैं ज़्यादा तो इतना emphasize नहीं आप करते हैं using the muscles of your mouth. When muscles of your mouth are being intertwined, are being आपको लग रहा है कि it's you're doing something out of forcefully, it is then when problem आती है. But with the practice of these short and sweet rules that are there, with me being more knowledgeable about the different accents, there will be no hassle at all. Could you check my answer received is right? Now, to see if it is right. इसको बोलने में अगर हम इंडियन एक्सेंट में धीरे धीरे आराम से हर एक वर्ड को एम्फेसाइज देते हुए बोलेंगे हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन अगर हम स्पीड इंट्रोड्यूस करें हमें थोड़ा सा स्टार्टिंग में डिफिकल्टी होगी। टू सी इफ इट इज राइट, 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 टू सी इफ इट इज राइट। तो हमें उसमें थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, बट यहाँ पर भी बहुत सारी कंट्रैक्शंस यूज होती हैं विच आई विल टॉक अबाउट in my later series. Would you? Would you like to have some water? Would you like to drink something cold? Would you like to have water? Would you like to drink something cold? No, no, no. Would you like to have some water? Would you like to drink something cold? Sounds good. Sounds more like a native speaker. Now, thank you. Here's the slide that I don't wish that it should come because I love so much with being you guys with illustrating more and more of concepts, with going into depths, talking about strategies, techniques, tricks, trips, sorry, tricks and tips. Okay, so I'm so being fluent with the language that I've started to, there's been slip of tongue, more of slip of tongue in my case. Let's forget that. Apologies. The thing is that just stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned with us. And if we see more of your, what do they say? If we are able to grab more of your attention, okay, if you're more interested, if you appreciate our content, if possible, please try to mention in the comments below what all topics you face most, difficulties in, so that we can talk about those topics, we can incorporate those topics in our presentations, and we can have more lives about your difficulty areas, the areas where you are facing more trouble in, okay? So it will be helpful for you also, and it will be really exciting for us to cater to your specific needs. So we'd love to see कि आपको किस चीज़ में प्रॉब्लम आ रही है और हम उसी चीज़ को डिस्कस करेंगे. And that's there. Thank you guys for being with me, and here we come to a closure.